Well, the House and the Senate have been decided, and it went about like expected. The Democrats took the House, and the Republicans took the Senate. And initially, there had been talk of a blue wave, of the Democrats making a much stronger showing than they did, but that didn't happen. And a lot of people are kind of disappointed that it didn't happen. But me personally, I never expected that was going to be the case. I think what's happening is we're gonna see a major shift. I think we're seeing the beginnings of a shifting in politics, and I think it's my belief. It's just a prediction. Who am I but an armchair political analyst? I genuinely believe that we're about to see a flip flop as far as the uh, the parties themselves, the Republican Party and the Democratic Party. I think we're going to see a change because more and more uh, people are beginning to ask about policy and evidence of policy working instead of just going with their political their old standby. African Americans are beginning to give Donald Trump a second look. And I think it's really interesting. I don't want to generalize how the African American community works because that wouldn't be fair. But I do think that they're starting to look at what's being done as opposed to what's being said. There are several arguments going on right now, between the Democrats and the Republicans. The Republicans are taking credit for these gains as far as the economy. The Democrats are saying that the economy is on the upswing because of all the groundwork that Barack Obama did while he was president. Uh, I would urge you to fact check to see what the truth is, instead of just being a partisan fanboy or girl. That's how you're going to find out the truth of the matter. I'm not going to just give it to you. I want people to start investigating for themselves to see what's really going on in the world. You have to expand your your knowledge of voting because it is such an important part of our society. It determines what happens with the people. And I think we forget the power that we have as voters to put people in office that contribute or detract from our society at a government level. Um, I've become more and more aware that polls are not accurate. I don't think the polls are effective right now because people are changing. Uh, there's no way to openly predict how people will vote because I think many are becoming um, more informed, but they're not talking as much. I think they're keeping what they're going to do to themselves until they cast their vote. And I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, but it's very interesting. There are African Americans that are starting to come out as Trump voters. The perception of the liberal versus um, Republican dynamic is changing. A lot of people have been assuming, and this has been a gross dismissal of certain people, that the Republican Party consists mainly of good old rural folk. Rural. I never could say that word. And they are the old way, the old understanding of them is that they were non-flexible, non-changing individuals that really were not moving the country forward. Archaic and just a throwback, uh, and less intellectual, and that's not the case. What we're seeing is a shift in the way that now there are those instances of stupidity, and I see it with the GOP that that one person, that one Republican, that loose cannon does something extremely stupid and extremely racially fueled, and it hurts the party. and the media takes that and they run with it. But what I find, in my talks with people who vote, and it's kind of cool because my method of talking to people is not, or talking with people is not talking to and down at them. It's talking with them and learning to understand their position. The face of Trump supporters and the face of the red state is very different than one might imagine. And I'm not going to say that there aren't those idiots, but what I am saying is I believe the Conservative Party is being underestimated as far as their own inner diversity goes. When people talk about Donald Trump, when they talk about the Conservative Party, I'm finding that they are very well informed of why they're doing what they're doing. I think Oklahoma is an exception. There's a guy that just got put into office right now, Stitt. He's got a proven track record of a lack of ethics. The state voted for this guy right after Mary Fallin, who pretty much had no regard for the Oklahoma City teachers, or the Oklahoma State teachers rather, which resulted in the strike that we had a while back. But then again, many of those teachers turned around and they voted Republican. That kind of, to me, reinforces the stereotype that I said actually didn't exist in the Republican Party. Oklahoma is pretty much an island into itself. I'm an Oklahoman, always will be. But I shake my head at dumb decisions, and we'll see what Stitt does. But I believe Stitt was another dumb decision. It's kind of like I banged my head against the wall until it became soft. It healed, or was in the process of healing, and guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to bang my head against the wall again, and I'm going to hope for different results. I think Oklahoma is going to learn a valuable lesson after this. But getting back to the conservative liberal dynamic, which is changing, the old guard of the Conservative Party being a cooter from Dukes of Hazzards. I got my girl, I got my gun, I got my big truck, and that's all I really think and care about. That's out the door. I have conservatives from different walks of life that do something that's very interesting. They think. They look into information. They fact check. And they are a multiracial group that's coming. They're not just the monolithic old big-eared white guy. They're white, they're black, they're educated, they're not as educated. They want to know what the policies of the candidate are. They want to know what they've actually accomplished. Which it seems like the liberals used to be that way. They, at one time I considered them the party of the logical. I considered them the common sense party. But ever since to switching to the format of outrage over fact, outrage over logic, and their inability to have a conversation based off of truth and facts has led me to wonder what has happened to the party. What's gone wrong? And the face of the Democratic Party as far as supporters is becoming narrowed. I never thought I would hear a time when people were making jokes and memes that liberals had green hair. The women liberals have green hair and these pointed rim glasses. And but I'm seeing more and more of it. I mean, it's like there's now liberal dress code. It seems, You can spot one a mile away, but you can't necessarily spot a conservative. It's not like it used to be. Very different. Liberals are becoming stereotypes in public, and they have something in common, which is when you argue it, when you not even argue, when you try to express a difference of opinions with them, they become exasperated. When you tell a liberal now the reason that you voted a certain way, if it's not the way they wanted you to vote, somehow you're a detractor from the country. There's never a consideration to what you were voting for and what that means to you. It's also funny that, you look at, in one area that lost me, as I deliver these stone cold stunners left and right. One of the areas that lost me with Democrats is, it was at one time the party of science, which I was so on board for. But now it's the party of selective science. When it comes to gender, we've got about 30 different genders and counting that people are coming up with. And it's neither here nor there. I've got friends that I like being around. Some of them are transgender. Some of them are, some are straight, some are gay, some are transgender. There's a lot of different. I like them as people, man. I don't really care about their politics. Once I found out about the things that they believe in, as long as it wasn't killing baby goats or anything, I just didn't care. They were the people I knew before, and they're the people that knew before, and I know them now. Nothing has changed. I haven't lost any friends on Facebook because somebody voted a certain way. But with this change of focus in their ideology, I think people are becoming aware of some of the more ridiculous parts of today's liberal extremism. It's a far cry from the liberal party of the past. There's people that'll disagree with me. I don't care. I mean, it's an opinion. I never claimed to be an authority. I am a blue-collar, average Bob human being. And I like talking about stuff like this. Don't know if I'm right, don't know if I'm wrong all the time, but I like running my mouth about it. But I think the liberals, if they're going to gain any kind of traction, and if they're ever going to have any kind of momentum, they're damn sure going to have to change their presentation. Because it's very caricatured. It's not even, I am shocked that in 2018, the number of political conversations that I have with that end in somebody yelling at me, or somebody pointing a finger at me, or somebody calling me names, it's not ending as it had in the past. It's ending now with liberals pointing fingers at me, and saying some not too nice things, without even any interest in wondering how I came full circle to what I now believe, which is if there actually existed a common sense party of America, which consisted of the best attributes of both parties. That's never going to happen. I mean, it's never going to happen. But I'm not on the fence. I'm not a liberal. I'm not a conservative. But I see the facts behind each, and the Conservative Party is showing right now more promise. Now tomorrow I may be delivering, a stone cold stunner to the conservatives because there's some things I can't get with as far as they're concerned. I keep going back to healthcare when I do talk about my major issues with the Conservative Party. But I think they're waking up and they're beginning to embrace different groups of people that they hadn't at one time. Liberals did the same. Used to be the party of the Klan. Klan created the party. Flip-flops happen. But I think we need to remember how they happened and why they happened. Did they happen because of moral reasons, or did they happen because we need to get more people in the country that will vote for us? Watch your parties closely. Watch them very closely and keep your political guns pointed at them to keep them honest and on their feet. Let's see what the rest of 2018 holds. Let's see what 2019 is going to bring us early on. And let's revisit this topic in the future. Take care.